Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Hard Wig Soft Life, the podcast. I want to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Black Stock Footage. Black Stock Footage is a stock video platform and production agency that's all about real, intentional Black representation. If you're a creator or brand looking for visuals that actually reflect our people, our energy, and our stories, this is it. They've got a beautiful library of high quality clips, and they're building something that really centers us. Use my code SOFTLIFE10 for 10% off a year subscription. And big thanks to Black Stock Footage for supporting Hard Wig Soft Life and showing love to creators like me. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Hard Wig Soft Life, the podcast. It's me, your girl Melissa L. Atkinson, and I am super amped for my guest today. Her name is Monique Carrillo, and she is a powerhouse of a woman. She's actually the mom to a lot of probably your favorite internet personalities, Deshae Frost, Brooklyn Frost, Amari Frost, and Bali Daniels. And so with no further ado, I've got Monique Carrillo.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you.
You too.
Nicely moisturized, cute, and all pink.
Kind of. Got the legs out. I didn't put no lotion on these, but...
Oh my God. So it's been a month since I've seen you. What are you working on? First of all, let's go ahead and introduce you to the people who are listening. So Monique, we know who your kids are, but who are you?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
I think I figure that out more the less they need me.
Okay.
You know, so like the bigger of a team that I build that can help out with their journey is more where I can tap into who I am in my strong areas. So
okay.
Yeah.
And so you also, aside from managing your 4 children, you also are in the creative space,
Yes.
you know, TikToking, I'm assuming you Twitch as well. How did you even get into all of this?
Well, I strongly believe that the more that I know, the more that I can help them. So I try to stay into the same space that they are in because it helps me. It helps me help them and other creators how to create, you know. So like Twitch, I'm starting Twitch not because I really want to be like a streamer, but because I want to learn my way around that, you know, like learn my way around
like what they're doing.
What they're doing, what works, what doesn't work, you know. And it's hard. Like if I fall behind in the tech or if I fall behind on the content, then it's so easy to get lost in the sauce and then you're not valuable to anyone.
I agree with that. Like I actually, like entering my 30s, I've realized like you can't be obsolete, especially if you're going to be a creator. Like with TikTok, for me, that was like, it was laborious to learn TikTok at first. I was like, okay, the attention spans are fried of people trying to figure out like how to get a hook, you know, and get people. And then it's not as curated as Instagram, which was hard as a millennial to understand. So we all know that you're the momager to 4 awesome people. But aside from being a momager, what else are you doing? What do you have your hand in?
I'm a very creative person, so I create a lot of things. Right now, I'm in the middle of trying to put together. I can't talk about it now, but I have a great project that I just put together. I just shot the trailer for it. I also am. I'm pretty much just trying to help the kids grow their platforms and produce their streams and stuff like that. But I do my own content on the sides. I have a cooking podcast that I do in my spare time, and that's pretty much it. You know?
Okay. So what kind of food do you cook on your podcast?
Whatever I find on TikTok.
Okay.
Anything, like whatever looks interesting and good, I cook that, you know.
So I haven't checked it out. Is it more like, is it comedic? Or is it like, hey, let's just try to give this a shot?
Well, it's called, I haven't done my first, well, I've always do like Sunday dinners. I'm like big for doing Sunday dinners. So I invite a lot of creators over. I cook a huge Sunday dinner. People do TikToks and they do content while they're there. But I've slowed down on that a little bit because I moved spaces. But now the cooking podcast is called We Got Food at Home.
Okay.
I changed the name, but yeah.
Now she has so many projects that we're not remembering the names.
Yeah, We Got Food at Home. So pretty much like people that I find interesting and want to just vibe with and cook with and just talk and stuff like that, then I bring them on to that.
Okay. And you said you do it, is it weekly?
I'm going to start doing it weekly, yeah.
Okay. Where can I find that?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be on my on my page.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll subscribe to you on YouTube just yet, but I will be before the end of this. Well, by the end of this podcast.
Okay.
And so you produce stuff for your children. And so when you say production, like what are you holding the camera? Are you editing? Like how are you helping out there?
So we just hired a creative director. So the creative director will come and she'll basically come up with the content.
Okay.
And then I'll like go grab the things that we need for the stream, and then I'll pull up on set and then put it all together.
I think it's dope that you have help, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that you already come up with really great ideas on the fly yourself. Did you get the creative director because it's just a lot for you to handle all four?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Sometimes I ran into a lot of, oh, you gave him better ideas than me, or oh, I was gonna do that. Did you tell her my idea? It's like that. Or I come up with a really great idea and one of my kids may not want to do it, so I'll give it to the other one. And he was just like, they'll be like, oh, I wanted to do that.
3 of your kids, do they all live in, because I know you're back and forth between LA and Atlanta. So are they all here in Atlanta?
Two of my kids, oh, well, yeah. 3 of them are here in Atlanta, and my middle son, he's not middle son anymore, but he just moved to LA to pursue his acting career. So.
And that is?
Amari. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I hear a lot about like Deshae. I hear a lot about Brooklyn. I feel like Amari. Well, we heard a lot about Deshae today.
Right.
Thank you for being here also because so for the listeners here, today Deshae was actually in an earthquake.
Yes.
In Thailand.
Yes.
He just got there.
Yeah.
Like, tell us about that. Like, when?
So the craziest thing happened. Like, I'm having the most peaceful sleep ever, and then I wake up to one of my friends texting me, "Is Deshae okay? Praying safety for your family." So I'm like, "What's going on?" You know. So I know the time difference, and you know, there's a time difference. So no one else texts me. He didn't call me or anything. So I go to TikTok really quick because I know that I'll find some type of clip or something because he was streaming last night, and I saw that he was in an earthquake. So. But I saw like a lot of clips after that. He was okay. So he didn't answer when I called him, but he finally answered and said everything was good. But that looks so scary.
It looks scary. And then I watched the video and you guys, like, I'm not going to lie, like I laughed a little bit because it did look like a prank.
Yeah.
Like he was like dead ass, like what's going on?
Like YouTubers can't, like streamers and YouTubers, they don't trust each other because you don't know what's serious or what's fake anymore. And they were all like, they didn't trust each other. They were like, what's going on?
In the video, they're both looking at each other like, is this for real?
Exactly.
So I have to go back to something that you just said. You said, I went on TikTok to find out because I knew I was going to find it quicker. How wild of a reality is that to know, like, I'm going to go to social media to find out what's wrong, like, with my kid?
I know because they're always clipping stuff, you know, like, the nature or the culture of, like live streaming is to get clipped.
Okay.
And so when people clip your videos, it keeps you relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll, you know, the most important parts of your streams are, sometimes people don't watch the stream. They'll just wait for the clips to come out. So it's weird because it's like, we've turned into like everyone's a news broadcaster. Everyone's a relationship therapist. Everyone's a critic. Like,
right.
You know,
everyone's an expert.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's an expert.
So for someone like me, because I'm not familiar with like Twitching, right? Or like streaming at all. Right. Like that is a very foreign concept to me. I have a brother who's a Gen Z and like that's his thing. Like he understands it. So what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you get on and it's live and you're on for a long time.
Yes. It's so weird because it's technically a 9 to 5.
Okay.
When you think about it, you're on for hours. And you're on for hours because you want to. There's a lot of I learned about streaming. So a lot of it is a community. You're building a community.
Okay.
So the community, the viewers that are watching, a lot of times they go onto your stream because they want to talk to each other. You know?
Oh, okay.
They're like, oh, there you are. What'd you eat last night? Sometimes they won't even watch the stream. They'll just talk to each other.
Really?
Know they can find each other there. Like,
okay.
They're friends, like they become friends and best friends, and some relationships happen out of being in the chat.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great. Like this is a concept that is out of the norm for me.
And I noticed too, it's like it's weird because the chat becomes our family to the point where they'll look out for you. You know, like maybe you might be live streaming, and I'll just like the other day, Deshae was he was streaming, and I'm reading the chat. I'll just pop on there, read the chat, and they're like, "Oh, cameraman is lacking. We can see the addresses outside. Put the camera down. Put the camera down. Put the camera down." So I text Deshae and I'm like, chat saying, "Put the camera down. They can see the addresses they don't want." And then they have mods that go delete things that they see and stuff like that. So, you know, or they'll say that person behind you looks weird. Watch out for him. Or
oh wow,
yeah, they really they pay attention to everything. Like when I lost something in my son's house, and they're like, "Oh, check over. It's over there by the." It was a red. It was a jacket. One of our guest jacket. He couldn't find it, and they were like, "It's in the closet," because they saw someone put it in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird place.
I feel like the internet is strange overall. Like
it is very strange.
So did you, as a family, did you guys always know that you wanted to do, you know, streaming, or
No.
How did this social media bit come into the family?
I will say entertainment. I think I've always been like, I've always had that.
Okay.
And it's weird when I go back and try to think about it, because my mom was not anywhere. Well, she was a dancer at one point in time.
Okay.
No, not the kind of dancer you think. She's getting them dollars, okay?
Okay, listen, we support the naked hustle too. Like, shout out Mama Dukes.
I don't know if that's where I got my I don't know. Like, but when kids would come over and stuff, even when I was little, I'd be like, "Oh, sing." And then they'd be like, "No." I'm like, "I think you can sing. Let me hear it." I don't know why I would ask these kids, like my sister's little friends, and I'm like, don't be scared. You never know who you're singing in front of. I would say that as a 10 or 11-year-old. Like I didn't know what any of that was, you know, but I just found, I love finding talent. I love showcasing talent. And
right.
So, I always went into that. And I guess when I got divorced and my kids were growing up, we got Brooklyn. I thought she was going to be the comedian.
Okay.
So I had like I tacked up this red like cloth on a wall, and that was our performance like stage.
Okay.
So I would have the kids like do little stuff there. There was no social media like that, so we just did it for fun, you know. And I'd be like, "Come into the stage. You've seen her on nothing. Frost." And then she'll come out. And so I think at that time, Deshae started doing Vine.
Okay.
He was doing Vine, and he was like into King Batch and doing Vine, and just really like stuck with it. He was the only kid. We would help him with his videos and stuff like that. And then I was like, "Well, what about stand-up? You want to do stand-up? If Vine, it's an app. What if they crash the app?"
And they did.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was like, "What's stand-up?" So we got in the living room. I was like, "Okay, here's a joke. Say this joke and make it funny, you know." And I think at the time it was like, have you ever got a whooping, and during the whooping you realize the whooping wasn't about you? Guess didn't I tell you? I ain't got the money. And it was like, "What money, mama?" Like,
yo, I'm dead.
So, okay, I was running around, but I don't know what money you're talking about. So stuff like that. He did that joke. It was funny. I'd start putting him on stages, you know, in Seattle, and then we start migrating to LA. You know, I was already in the stand-up comedian world. Like I was a PR. I did PR and stuff for people like that, like stand-up comedians.
I didn't know that.
And then I produced my own comedy show in Seattle.
Okay,
you know?
So at that time, were you living in Seattle?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys were already on the West Coast, and so your career job at that time, was doing PR.
I worked. This was my whole plan. I worked for the school district. I worked in special education, but during that time, you know, like I'd always dream big, you know. So I'm like, while my kid is reading or something, I'm like putting together a business plan. I'm like, okay, I want to do this. I want to do this. And so I've always wanted to do something bigger. I was like, you know what? Let me start a comedy room here.
Okay.
I became the first Black female to start comedy promoter in the city of Seattle. No one's done it before me. I did that. I had resources because I used to be Faison Love's assistant.
Okay. Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
For like a really long time. And then I just started I learned the game and I started bringing my own comics into Seattle.
Good for you.
And so it was really fun. I did that for a little while. And then I was just like, my idea was like, okay, I want to be like a publicist, like a PR person, but I don't want to like go out and find like clients. I would rather them come to me. So they will come, and then I will fly them in. It will give me time to like talk to them, pitch to them, stuff like that. And then I got clients like that.
Okay.
So it was cool. It was cool for a little while, and then I was just like, Seattle's a little boring. I think I could do something bigger in Atlanta.
Okay. And you didn't think to go straight to LA. You just were like, no, let's go down to Atlanta.
I went to Atlanta, and Atlanta kicked my ass. Oh
No,
gosh.
I thought you were gonna say you thrived.
No. Well, I'm bouncing around. This is when the kids were younger. I moved to Atlanta. Yeah, I moved to Atlanta when they were like 8. They were 8, 5, and 4.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And you were already a single mom at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot.
So then, okay, so after my time in Atlanta, that was a whole different time. I still worked in entertainment. I ended up moving back to Seattle, and that's when Deshae started doing. Because I was working for Deborah Antony at the time, so I was Nicki Minaj's product manager and marketing. Who else? Waka Flocka, Gucci Man, and OJ Juice Man, another artist named Muffy. We had a band. So once she changed directions within her company, I ended up moving back to Seattle.
Okay.
And I just needed a break from the entertainment industry for a little while.
Heard.
And then once Deshae started getting into Vine, I was like, okay, this is fresh. It's new. He's a kid, that was good. And so he started doing that and doing stand-up. And then one day we came home and there was an eviction notice on my door. And I was like, damn, y'all want to move to LA? And they were like, sure. So, cause we were already going there a lot for auditions for Nickelodeon and stuff, but I didn't know anything about it. So I'm literally driving 18 hours thinking an audition is like this big opportunity, knowing that it now in hindsight, when I look at it, it's like, damn, I really drove 18 hours for one audition.
Right. An audition is a grueling process. And then it's like, they barely look at you when you like come in there. They're like, okay, thanks.
So it took him 5 years for him to actually get a yes. And he ended up getting on the show called SWAT with Sharmore. So he was on that for 3 years. And that pretty much, but by that time he was a YouTuber.
Okay.
He just started, he loved social media. So he stayed doing content.
I feel like, first of all, an eviction is a hell of a way to pivot.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
Like, I mean, we've all seen, I know I myself have seen an eviction notice on the door. And my first thought was not like, oh shit, I'm going to go to LA and go be a superstar. Like, I think that just speaks volumes to like who you are as a person. Like, okay, we're down, but I'm ambitious. So we're going to keep it pushing and let's pivot. So I admire that. But two, like, how was it exciting when you saw that like your son not only probably had a talent for comedy, but also wanted to do it? Yeah.
It was very exciting because it was to the point where like his graduation for 8th grade, he had a show that day too.
Okay.
And he couldn't, it was either go to your 8th grade graduation or go to the stand-up show. And he went to the stand-up show.
I don't blame him.
So it's like he missed out on a lot of things, but I always made everything in my kids' lives a lot bigger than, I made them feel it was a lot bigger than what it really was. Mm-hmm. So like, I remember one year for his 14th birthday, I made like this star-studded celebrity event. They thought I was bringing Kevin Hart. I didn't even know Kevin Hart, but I ended up bringing Tiffany Haddish, and she wasn't famous at all at the time.
Wow.
One of my comic friends was like, I know a girl who would do it. We brought her in. Amazing person, amazing energy. She came in and pretty much headlined the party. Deshae.
That's dope.
It was in a theater. They just
That's so cool.
I made him feel famous.
Right.
So he felt good about him. So it gave him the confidence, Mm-hmm. And at one point in time, he had lost his account, and it was sad. He had lost his account, and he ended up, I bought him followers.
Oh.
to make him feel like,
no, I still got it.
yeah.
Right.
And he was like, Mom, look, I got 15,000 followers. Everyone's following.
Oh, he didn't know he bought that.
No. I didn't tell him. It was like a confidence booster. I didn't want him to like, he was getting down and I don't like when they,
Right.
So he's like, I said, he's like, who are these people? A chair company? I don't know. I don't care. So that was a motivating moment.
I think that's amazing because, I mean, I feel like the industry is really tough, especially if you're not like prepared. So luckily you already had your footing in there, so you understood. But then bringing your kids, it seems like almost it was a gentle process.
Yeah.
In that you didn't forget to be a parent.
Right.
I think some parents forget to be a parent when their child is in the industry, or they're too much of a parent. Right. So how do you find balance in that? Like,
well, if you look on social media, they will say that I'm not the best parent. Like they'll just be like, oh, you just want to be friends with your kids. But it's like, I don't correct my children on camera.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like certain things are just like, because I'm not going to side with who's speaking negatively about them. Or there's things that I don't agree with, but those are private conversations that, like I feel like the world will humble my kids. Right. The world will humble each and every one of us. You know what I'm saying? We go through experiences that, maybe sometimes your parents can't teach you, but you do something wrong or something that doesn't fit into like, if you know what I'm saying?
No, I understand. It doesn't fit into like a societal, like, okay. And it's like, even if you feel like, oh, well, I'm right, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And you don't want to listen to mom because mom is mom, right? If there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people telling you like, nah, man, that's not right.
Right.
You might consider it at that point.
Right. Exactly.
Which then you'll self-correct.
Yeah. And I mean, it's different maybe from like a parent whose children aren't on social media. They don't deal with things the same way. But whereas for me, it's just like, I'll just be like, maybe you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't did that, or behave like this, or do this, or do that. And if they don't listen and then they continue a certain behavior and the world corrects them, then it's kind of like an I told you so. But then it's also not for me to be like, hey guys, watch me correct him right now in front of you. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't say anything, they're like, she's horrible. She just wants to be one of the kids. Well, I work with social media influencers, so I'm around a lot of young youth and young adults. So, and that's part of just not feeding into the internet. But definitely a lot of conversations are had off camera, like a lot of prayers, a lot of, those type of things, like the real parenting happens. It does not happen on camera. It happens off camera.
Okay. I have a question too, actually. So there are a lot of like, there are a lot of tough things that we've like learned that some of your kids have gone through, right? And it is out like on TikTok or just on the internet for other people to see. Are there instances where you find out some of these things via the internet and not through them, or do you already know?
I pretty much know everything that happens. There are some things that I do find out later, because it's just kids being kids.
Right.
But it's just like, I try to intervene and help when I can. They're going to come to me when they're in a tough spot, or when there's like a major decision that has to be made, or they're going to ask me advice about something, or, but it's rare my kids will just go do something.
Right.
Even if it's like a large purchase for like jewelry or a car or something, like usually I'm always involved in that process of like, what should I do, or something like that.
That speaks volumes to who you are as a mother. Yeah. So that's, I mean, because I don't have kids yet. Yeah. But from what I understand is like, hey, you do a good enough job from the time that they're born to the time that they're 18. Right. And then hopefully they're prepared enough to go out into the world. So, I mean, good job on you. Yeah, of course. The offer still stands. If you would like to adopt me, I'm more than available. I'm the little brown girl. I'm kind of cool. Like, I feel like I could blend in the family pretty okay.
You're going to be starting Twitch. Be like, hold on. Let's get in front of this camera.
That's another thing too. When I met you at Creators Escape, I really loved the fact that you're so quick to pick up on other people's like you said,
Talents,
and
yeah.
say, okay, well, you should do this and you could do this. And it actually empowered me to feel like, hey, I'm going to do my podcast. What I know that you downplay sometimes, but
Yeah.
is there something that you're like, no, I could be doing more of this for yourself?
Lots of things. I feel like it seems like I'm an extrovert, but I'm really an introvert when it comes to a lot of stuff. Like,
No, but I understand that too. And you're not the first artist that I have heard say that they're actually an introvert.
yeah, so it's like you might just be going through your day just as normal and humble as you want, and you have to show up somewhere and switch your whole somber day to like turn on.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not feel like it, but you have to. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's almost like a performance. Like, I may not be having the best day.
Right.
You can't cancel, but it's just like, all right, I'm gonna show up. But I think it's for me probably being more. I need to be more. I need to have better time management.
Okay.
You know, and them kids, they could figure it out. You know, because it's like, I was going to go live with someone not too long ago. It was just like, can you go live with me for something? And I was like, yeah. And then right, like 5 minutes before we were going to go live, Deshae calls me and is like, oh, can you change my ticket to Thailand? Can you book me a ticket to LA? Can you, there's like 3 or 4 things he needed me to do. Sign contracts. I do everything.
I was just about to ask. I was like,
Yeah,
wow, like,
sign contracts. I do everything that, like,
because you're the manager.
yeah. But I'm accessible too.
Right.
So it's like those type of things. And one of my friends is like, he's 20 something years old. He can do his own. He could do that himself. But sometimes it's like, and I always try to tell people it's not about a person being a certain age doing it, because there's logistics behind it. You know what I'm saying? There's like, I know that if you're flying into a space, you can only book your hotel a certain time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you don't want to fly in somewhere at 2:00 in the morning,
And then you can't get into a check-in or, yeah.
then you have a problem with can't refunding this. It's just easier for me to just do it because I know the logistics of traveling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't want to have to go back and clean up anyone's mess. So a lot of stuff I just do it myself. Like,
The hyper independent. Okay. Do you think
Yeah.
there will be a time where you're like, okay, let me empower them to start doing little by little?
well, they do have they've had really good assistants in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that too. Like, do they have as individual assistants, or is it like a family assistant, or is it just you? Or
Well, now it's me because it's just like the workload isn't just super crazy, but we pretty much have most of the stuff we need, but I don't know, I feel like talent shouldn't be doing the little technical things.
Right.
I just don't think it's hard, it's stressful cuz it's already stressful enough being a talent. Like, I say that I have like some sort of what do you call it? What did I just say I had? Like, I'm not extroverted.
oh,
I'm a little bit
introvert.
introvert.
Yeah.
So like, they have to meet with like these big artists and these big, my kids are quiet, but they're
Really?
yeah, they are. They're really quiet. Deshae's super quiet to himself. Brooklyn's very quiet, but like you put her on stream with somebody and it's like, what's up?
That's probably why.
And then afterwards it's just like, so it's kind of like, it is kind of like work for them, it's hard work.
Right.
And so, and that's what I try to tell everyone, these guys put a lot of work into it. Like, and like, even people that I've spoken to in our family, sometimes they'll be like, oh, well, we need money for this, or we need this.
That's hard-earned money.
We need this. Yeah. And I tell them like, like their cousins or siblings or something. I'm like, you guys, it's hard. These guys work every day for everything that they have, So it's like, I get it, siblings and cousins and family, but it's just like, it's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
I get that.
Yeah.
So I would say, although I'm an extroverted person, if I do a lot of like speaking engagements and I'm around a lot of people for like 48 hours, don't talk to me. I have a blanket over my head. I'm in my couch. My husband doesn't even say anything to me. He's just like, are you okay?
Like your social battery drains.
Yes. You're on all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't want to be funny.
Yeah.
I don't feel like smiling anymore. My cheeks hurt. Like, I have nothing else to give. Like,
No, you be going.
I'll be trying. I'm telling you, the recovery is like, oh my God, it makes me feel normal, like hearing that, like, okay, wow, they're quiet. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm quiet, but like, I get that. So the first one was Deshae.
Yeah.
And he did Vines, and he did YouTube,
Right.
and he did like auditions and stuff. When did the rest of your children start to want to be in an entertainment space?
My son loves basketball, so it was for him. It was more so basketball. We all helped Deshae with his Vines and stuff.
Okay.
But for him, it was basketball. He loves basketball. For my daughter, she's the one that started YouTube. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I just thought about it. She's the one that started YouTube. She used to watch YouTube. Deshae was still doing Instagram skits all the time. He was collabing with King Batch and Leanne V and Day Storm, everyone in LA.
Okay.
Like G Wayne.
And that's why he said most of his friends are in LA.
Yeah. But these are like older people.
Okay.
And he was just, I mean, you name it, he was out there. Wasn't even old enough to drive, but getting rides, getting Ubered, getting, just
hustling.
Yeah. So my daughter, she's a teenage, and she's like 13 at the time, 11 or 12 at the time, 13. And she's just like, Mom, I want to do this YouTube video where I do a hot wing challenge. So I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, I'm going to start YouTube one day. So I'm like, okay. I see her watch it all the time. It's just like, at the time, she was always watching like couples channels.
Okay.
And stuff. So,
and that was like a thing too back then.
Yeah, and I was like, what? And Deshae's like, I don't get what you guys are you just watch other people's lives. I remember watching that. It's like, you just watching other people's lives. And she's like, yeah, it's good, And so she did the hot wing challenge, and she's like, I remember I didn't have enough money for it. I think a week later, I ended up going to Wing Dome or something, getting the hottest wings that they had. I got them. We went back home. She's like, Deshae, can you be in this video with me? He was like, yeah, I'll do it with you. And they did the video. It got a whole bunch of views.
Okay.
And no, I'm sorry. They did the video. Brooklyn was like, oh, I don't want to post it. So Deshae was like, fuck it, I'll post it on my page.
Right.
I'll create a page and post it.
I know I didn't eat a hot wing for no reason.
Crazy. So Deshae was like, oh, shoot, I got a lot of numbers. And Brooklyn still didn't create a YouTube channel. So Deshae, they kept doing videos together. Deshae gained over 1 million subscribers in about a month.
Wow.
Yeah. Big YouTubers were hitting him up.
Wow.
Yeah. It was crazy. And after that, probably a year after, Brooklyn started her own YouTube channel. Okay. But Deshae's first check was like $50,000.
Wow, I want to be like Deshae when I grow up.
16 years old. Yeah, it was crazy. I'd never seen that much. I was like, this can't be real. Like, this is real.
This is scammer's check. Like,
you know what's funny? I was like, if you can make that much, as your mom, I can make that much.
Right.
And I can make at least what I'm making now or a little bit more. Like, I know I'm not like a kid or anything, but I was like, so I started this channel called Immature Mom. Oh my God.
I'm dead. Like,
it's so annoying because I was in the backyard like, hey, what's up, YouTube? It's your girl, Immature Mom. And the kids kept looking at me laughing. They were like, and I was like, oh God, this is so dumb. And I quit my job.
Okay.
I was just on faith.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. That's like a lot of faith.
It was on faith. I quit it. And because I believe in manifesting things. I believe in the stuff that you say, it happens. Mm-hmm. And I told myself, I said, one day I'm going to tell my supervisor that I make so much money that I don't need the income from the specific job. Okay. And I did that. Because like if I lied about anything, I say my car broke down. I don't want to come to work. My car's going to break down.
Yes, that always happens.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to say something different. And it was crazy. I quit it because he wanted to meet with me. So I was like, let me just type this email now because what if it's something bad? So I typed it. He was like, okay, thanks. So I was like, oh, shoot, I don't have a job. That night, I had to go to, or the next day, I had to go wash clothes at the laundromat. So I'm putting quarters in the thing. And he goes, my supervisor, like, stands next to me putting
He was there.
Oh, my God.
No, not at the laundromat after you quit?
He was like, so how's that working out for you? I was like, it's good. And I'm dropping quarters in.
Not as good.
I was so embarrassed. Like, dang, why would you pick? Where do you live at? Why are you close to me? Out of everywhere.
Was he washing clothes also?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, did he? Because it's really petty to just like pull in if he saw you.
No, it was so embarrassing because he must have already been there around. So I'm putting my clothes in, and he must have just been exchanging his stuff out. I was like, oh, I never see him in a store, in the street, anywhere.
Just after you quit and said you have a lot of money when you're manifesting.
Yeah, and my views were doing good after that.
Okay.
I did really, really good, more than I've ever made in my life. Like, I made it from YouTube. So.
I think I'm gonna start doing that. I'm just gonna start telling people, like, I just have too much money to attend to this event. Like, I'm too booked.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, if you believe that
The
and
power
you
of
say
manifestation.
it really works. Yeah, it's crazy. Just, you know, you can even joke around and do it, but if you believe it, it works.
So when you were getting your views as the immature mom, and then you saw your supervisor at the laundromat, like, where you were not in Seattle, you were here in Atlanta.
I was in LA.
You were in LA at this point. So this was after the eviction.
Yeah.
Because the eviction was like, hey, we're gonna go to LA.
Dang, I feel like I lived like several lives. That's crazy.
That means you're probably doing it right. Because like, I feel like if you're able to sit back and be like, yo, I was like this person, and then I had this era, and then I did this. Do you ever sit back and be like, damn, I did all of this?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
When does it hit you?
It's little moments.
Okay.
Like waking up sometimes, just my view outside, you know, or like
which is fire. I saw it on Instagram and I was like, huh, like that's so nice.
Just little stuff like that I kind of take for granted. I'm like, dang, like, for example, when I first lived in Atlanta, I lived in this crappy apartment, like this basement apartment, just so my kids can go to the best school in Atlanta, which was Morningside.
Okay.
So I found some apartment there, and it was just a bottom base floor basement, you know, to the point my son Mel, he was like, can we get a place with our own door, Mom? Like, I was like, oh, I feel bad, but you guys go to Morningside and we don't have to lie about our address.
Right.
But we got evicted out of there too. We got evicted out of there.
I was gonna say, how many have you had? I've only had one.
We got evicted out of there while I was home.
No.
Kids were playing. Yes, I had to tell them. The police were like, oh, can you, like, I'm going to give you like 30 minutes to grab all your stuff.
Not, do you know you have 30 minutes?
I told the kids that they were changing the carpet. So we had to get all our stuff to move so they can clean the carpet and exchange it. Yeah.
Wow.
I had some good alternative excuses as to why.
They didn't ask any more questions after that? Like, hey, are we going back or?
No.
So what did you do at that point?
Oh, I just went to my boyfriend at the time's mom's house.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom lived there, my sisters. I have family and stuff there.
Okay.
I always figured it out, though. That's one thing about me.
So your daughter, so Brooklyn, she finally got her YouTube channel, like right after.
Yeah.
The wing challenge with Deshae. And then from there, her viral moment, the one that I know, and I didn't know it was her when I met you, is the one in the back. Or
who's that in the back?
Who's that in the back? What is that from YouTube, or like how did that come about?
That was so funny. She was doing like this Discord thing, so she was like on stream with 4 other people, and so somebody was talking about something. They were just talking to her about something, and a guy came out of the bathroom in the back. She was like, "Oh wait, who that in the back? Who that in the back?" And he kept talking, and then so she just kept. Brooklyn's impulsive thoughts take over, and she just does not shut up. So that was funny.
It's just funny.
I think Cardi B used that.
Yes, Cardi B.
She did that, and then another moment she had was like, I want that. I need that.
Yes.
Gotta have that.
Yes.
Yeah, they use her sounds a lot for stuff. But
so now that your kids are like growing up and kind of just doing their own thing and it's less work for you, just personally, because I feel like your life has been raising and you have 3, 4 kids, beautiful children.
Yes.
So I feel like as a mom, your life is your kids.
Right.
But what is some of like the quiet work that you've had to do like on yourself now that you're kind of like freeing up, you have some more time?
I just started therapy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I start my first session April 1st. So go
Really?
us. Yes.
That is crazy.
Yes. It's not an April Fool's joke.
Yeah. No, well, the first one I missed it, and then I was like, ah, forget it. Maybe it's not meant.
No.
And then it was so weird because my therapist that I just had 2 sessions with her already. I'm scared. I think I don't want her to know who I am. So like, like when I mention stuff, she seems kind of young, and I'm just like, oh, what if she knows my kids? Like, I don't want her to know them, because then she'll know
Got it.
what I'm saying. And I'm like, I said it to us, but I can't say their names. I'm like, I feel like you know who we are. She didn't say anything, but she's been giving me some good like treatment plans for things.
I can understand the trepidation there, but also, she's a professional.
Yeah.
You have to be your full self.
Oh my God.
Monique, you can't be like, and even that's a lot of work. Can you imagine? Well, not imagine because you're living it, but you're in therapy, you're talking, but then you're censoring yourself like, oh, and then,
yeah,
my daughter
is
no.
So should I get like an old white lady that I know that doesn't know us, or like an old black lady that I know is not on social media?
So I personally, the reason why I've taken so long finding a therapist, is because I need someone, I can't have a white therapist, right?
Yeah.
Like I just can't, it has to be a black woman. It
Yeah.
has to be somebody who I strive to look up to.
Right.
So like just transparent moment, like I wouldn't say that I have like a strong like woman that I'm like, oh, I want to be like this person. And because of that, I'm navigating in life and I'm just kind of muddling through figuring it out, right? Like I'm my own like role model person, I guess.
It's crazy.
It's hard, right? I feel like
Yeah.
it sounds like you probably are in the same thing or have been.
Yeah.
So you're just figuring it out, but you don't have someone to say, no, this is the way. So it has to be a black woman for me.
It's, I wish I could say that about my mom. I wish I could look at my mom and be like, dang, I want to be like that woman. Like, I almost envy people that, not in a bad way, but like, when people be like, oh, I love my mommy so much, like, dang, I wish I had that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think a lot of that for me too is because, my mom did the best she could with the love that she was given.
Yes. I agree.
The time era, but it's just like, some of those ways in that mindset is just not it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not it. And so like, it's also a point of being accountable for stuff too. So it's just like, I don't have that either. Like that strong sense of like, I do actually. My mother-in-law that passed away. Yeah. I love her. But that was, I brought that up in therapy. I'm like, dang, and I think a lot of times it does, like, I wonder, am I like this because of how I feel about this? Or if I fix this relationship, would I be different? Or, and a lot of it's like lack of confidence and stuff,
Yes.
I try, I want to, that's why I raise my kids. People are like, they're disrespectful. They can be disrespectful. I don't care. They know not to be disrespectful, but I will never not let them have a voice.
Right.
I don't care if it sounds disrespectful. I will tell them a right way to say no. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't like it. Or no, I'm not going to do this. But I'm never going to say, hey, be quiet. Kids are not supposed to be heard. Only seen. Like none of that. So, we can deal with the disrespect and the delivery later. But the main, if you're saying no to something, or I don't like this, or I don't like you, or you're wrong, then I want that. I want that to stick with them. That's why Brooklyn's so opinionated in there. She's so strong in who she is and I raised Bali to be the same way because I don't want, this world is crazy. And if a kid, all they have is their voice, they got to use it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because then you end up being
a yes man.
And then you're like in your 30s trying.
Yeah.
Personally, everything that you're saying, I resonate with, love both of my parents, and I feel like each of them did the best that they could with the resources that they had. So I don't fault them. But in that same breath, I can say, hey, if maybe you guys spoke more life into us, I wouldn't be grown being like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing okay.
Right.
Am I doing okay?
Right.
And I'm here to tell you as a peer, as a friend, like, I think you're doing phenomenal.
So are you.
You think?
We kind of trauma bonded at first because when we first met, I was already like a little bit nervous about like speaking on a panel, and then because I didn't do my research of what they were going to ask and stuff, and then you were like, "I'm a little bit nervous." I'm like, "Yes, we're both going to be nervous together. That means we're going to do great." You know, because I didn't want everyone to be all these like great speakers, and I'm like still trying to find a podcast on how to become a great public speaker and stuff. You know, I'm looking at brain activities and downloading Elevated so I can use better grammar, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Your story was so impactful, which is why we're here. You know, the evictions, the pivoting, the way that you've not only elevated yourself professionally, but elevated your children. I'm proud of you. I'm excited. Please keep going to therapy. I will go to therapy too. I will recommend my therapist to you if you need it, you know, if you're not sure. And she's actually out of Florida. So if you're like worried about like, you know, but
I think they have to be out of Georgia or wherever I live at. I think they have to be out of that. But
why?
I don't know.
No, I don't think that's a thing.
Shoot her name over.
I will do that. But I know that we met for this. This is going to be like a mini episode, but I'm so grateful that you came to hang out. Yes, girl. Yes. You said your child was in an earthquake and you're here. So I feel good.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. You're such a light and such a bubbly energy. I was so happy to meet you. So
yes,
I appreciate you.
Well, you know, I think I feel good about our conversation. How are you feeling?
I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go ahead and we can call it a cut here. I have this Spitfire, but I don't know if we have a moment for that.
42.
Not me breaking the fourth wall every time. Like I always be looking directly like, okay, so.
That's a good AD right there.
She's amazing. Sabrina is everything. Okay, so, what is your go-to reset when life feels loud?
Music.
Prayer. Okay.
Food.
And what's the best part of being a mom to 4?
The best part is just seeing them interact with each other.
Okay.
I love it. I love being there for them. I just love that they can call me and then I can deliver the stuff that they need.
Love that.
You know, I love that. I love that they can call me their mom, you know, and I feel like nothing gets in the middle of that. You know, my relationship with them are completely different, but their relationship with each other, I just make sure that they stay tight all the time.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to close out on that one. But before I close out, I would like to thank Black Stock Footage for sponsoring this podcast episode, as well as all of the podcast episodes for season 2. And so, Monique, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can find me on Twitch now. My name is usually Monique S. Carrillo. And that's it. MoniqueScarrillo. But if you just Google it, it'll pull up whichever platform you're looking for. So Snapchat.
I'm not gonna lie. As soon as you started with the M, I started to think MICKEYMOUSE. Hey! All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Monique Carrillo again. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hard Way Soft Life.